Okay, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or whenever, depending on what time you're going to watch this lecture video. Welcome to my lecture video. First, to introduce myself, so that you don't have any questions on why am I here doing a lecture video. My name is Bryle Louis Dayacap. I'm ID number 118 from the philosophy. My course is philosophy and accounting. So I'm a major of philosophy, and I'm currently on my third year of the program. And I am a mentee of Dr. Leslie de la Cruz. So that Dr. Leslie is my practicum and thesis mentor. So I am here delivering our lecture because it is part of my practicum requirements to have this teaching assistantship. So what I will be discussing for this lecture video is something I think really interesting, and I hope you find it interesting as well. Um, I will be discussing still on the ones who walk away from Omelas by Guin, and then but with more of a pop culture and philosophy theme. So we will be talking about the one who walks away from Omelas, given the fact that it was actually referenced by K-pop group BTS in their music video Spring Day. And with this, we will also branch out to another pop culture reference, which is Snowpiercer. It is a 2013 film, which is not now actually being adapted by Netflix. It's actually a Netflix series right now. And then I think discussing philosophy really becomes interesting and really fun when you analyze it next to pop culture. So, and relate it to our current society. So, although even if you're not a fan of BTS, for example, I'm sure that you will find this lecture really interesting. Disclaimer, hindi talaga ako super fan ng BTS, but I am a fan of K-pop in general, just specifically NCT. But I did do my research specifically for this lecture. So, okay, let's just get right into it. Okay, Spring Day. Spring Day is a song by BTS. And the song itself, especially the music video, has a lot of levels to it, and it actually references to a lot of things and symbolisms, which includes the Snowpiercer, as I said a while ago, and more importantly, the ones who walk away from Omelas. See, that picture right there is from the music video, Spring Day, where Omelas is depicted as a lodge, and then, but before I continue, if you haven't watched it yet, I invite you to please pause this video for a moment and then watch the music video. You can easily find it on YouTube when you search BTS Spring Day. It's a really nice video, so I'm sure you will enjoy it as well. And if you're done, just continue this video. Um, okay, so assuming that you are continuing this video right now, you have watched the music video of Spring Day, so I can continue with my lecture. Okay. Okay, so as I have said earlier, Spring Day references to the ones who walks away from Omelas. And this can be best seen visually in this GIF that I found. Um, in that picture, so Omelas, the city of Omelas, was portrayed as in the video as a lodge. Notice that in the video, it is actually similar to how it was presented in the actual short story by Ursula. So it was first presented like with a very warm and welcoming imagery. So comparable to how it was described in the story, that it was a utopic city where everyone is simply filled with happiness. And then, and the next few shots, we would see that the Omelas, the lodge in the video, is actually presented with a darker mood. So see, there are less lights, and then there is a conspicuous no vacancy that just shows that it has a dark atmosphere to it. So it is also similar to in the story wherein we actually found out that the city of Omelas, their happiness is found upon the backs of a single child suffering. So so that that is why it's comparable in that sense. Um so it is now clear that BTS uses the lodge as a metaphor for the actual city of Omelas. What happens in the music video now is now something that we can look into as they use this metaphor. Now there are a lot of interpretations actually with in terms of BTS referencing to Omelas. Some say that Jungkook, which is actually their bias, the one on the upper right, the GIF there, is actually their maknae of the group. And so he is the youngest member of the group, and said that it is said that he is actually the child in the Omelas, the suffering child. So that's another metaphor you could look out for. And then the rest of the BTS members are actually the citizens of Omelas. Yeah. Although the biggest point of the discussion is near the end of it all, where all the BTS members are seen to be walking away from Omelas together. The key point here is together. It is obvious that this is their message: walk away from Omelas together. It may even be the case that they walked away and they brought the child with them. So see, this is a big point of deviance when compared to Leguin's story. BTS somehow presented their own take on what must be the morally right choice. So when you are a citizen of Omelas, it is not just to walk away, but to save the suffering child. So at the time, this rejected the idea much emphasized by Leguin that the ones who walk away from Omelas walk away alone. Now, this would need actually a lot of unpacking. We can question the morality first, the morality of the act of BTS, since they know that helping the child would ruin the utopic city of Omelas, but they did so anyway. They took it upon themselves to dismantle the city, or the unjust city. Obviously, this their moral framework would no longer fall into the utilitarian one. Maybe instead of subscribing to a utilitarian framework, they would see more value in the distributive justice framework, or having more of a deontological perspective, where there are moral duties that everyone should fulfill. Definitely not utilitarian anymore, since saving the child would cause less happiness, and that's what utilitarianism is actually um, fighting for. In other frameworks or moral frameworks, the two decisions presented by Le Guin are both immoral, since they do nothing to lessen the suffering of the child. Of course, in the utilitarian framework, what Legren's both reaction that Le Guin presented is actually moral, but for other frameworks, maybe it is actually presented to be not, because it is seen to be unjust. As I said, both reactions have the utilitarian framework. Those who stay in the cities and choose to live with the knowledge of the suffering child have decided that they must not trade the happiness of everyone for the for just one child. The ones who walk away are considerably the better utilitarians, but still utilitarian, since they still prioritize the majority of the Omelians by not helping the child. Maybe maybe they would just walk away more because of an egoistic reason, or an emotivist framework, that they do not want to feel the guilt of being in that city, of being in that situation. But still, it is not much different from the first reaction, because you're not really changing anything, you're just walking away. It is also important to note that Le Guin delivers the concept that you cannot achieve utopia without a little darkness. As if at the other side of happiness there necessarily exists suffering. But is this really the case? In BTS kind of deviates from that fact na, where they are shown to walk because they are shown to walk away from Omelas together. We should think about first, um just backing up. Let's think about first, why do you think Le Guin emphasized that the ones who walk away from Omelas walk away alone? Maybe because she was emphasizing that the decision of walking away is strictly a minority decision, one that is not a bandwagon decision. This decision is a deviation from the common belief. That is why when you walk away from Omela, you only walk away alone. For whatever reason, like Guin did not even acknowledge the possibility of a third reaction, which was to help the child, um, especially since helping the child is a bigger form of deviation, right? Also, it may be the case that for Le Guin, it is less imaginable for a society better or apart from Omelas to exist. Again, with the utilitarian assumption that it is a fact of life that that for happiness to exist, there must be suffering. It just depends on how much. But this is really the case. Like BTS would not appear to think so that is the case, because they would still go to the they would still have that third reaction in which they together they walked away from Omelas with the child. Now this can give us a lot of thought to ponder upon. Considering the time context difference, maybe in our time people are more critical of the utilitarian framework. It is no longer the fact that when faced with an injustice like that, it is only an extreme minority to be against it. When we choose to walk away from Omelas, or even to walk away to save the child, we are not the only ones considering that. No, there will always be people that would want to save the child. With this, it is possible to walk out of Omelas with other people with the same moral framework. Just like for example, if you when you first read the story, are you contented that those are the only reactions that people chose when they knew the reality of their city? Um, hmm. And for BTS, they actually walked out with a optimistic attitude that it is possible to achieve a society better than that of Omelas. Try to um, Because you can see that for BTS, it actually wasn't um, sufficient that the only two options are to either live in Omelas, learn to live with that reality, or to walk away. There is a third reaction that is for them is morally more moral and better. Okay.